Hi, I'm Dwayne with your SambaTree News Weekly Health Update. Well, this is something quite different, isn't it? This is something that brand new that I think we're going to try to do on a weekly basis. I figure it's Wednesday. We're in the middle of the week, and I said, why not? Let's go ahead and try it, and let's see how it turns out. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat, whatever it is that you're watching this. Let me know in the chat how we do. What do you think? Is this something you would look at once a week? Let us know. We need to hear from you. Okay. So today we're just going to highlight, a few things, not just on what's going on with SambaTree.com, but also some of the more recent news that's going on right now in the world of health and wellness and things that we should actually be very concerned about. So let's go ahead and get in, shall we? All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about are some of the updates that I'm sure many of you have heard or seen in passing, but I want to make sure because there's so many things that we're adding and we're doing here at SambaTree.com, and I want to make sure you're not missing it. Okay. So let's go through this and let's check it out. All right. All right. So the first thing is that I want to make sure that you're not missing out on are our AI options. These things are extremely helpful. These are very helpful tools. If you have any questions at all, this is your first line to go to have those questions answered. Anything that's health related. Remember, we're not licensed physicians here. We don't pretend to be, but we can point you to places where you can get some of the answers, the questions that you have answered, where you can take those responses and build upon it with your own personal research. We have a couple of things here. Number one, we have, of course, I'll just go right to left. We have Miss Ronnie. Okay. That's our online in-store assistant, and she can be accessed right here on the bottom left-hand corner right here of the screen. You see this right here? So if you have any questions at all pertaining to, do you guys have anything that deals with skin ailments, or do you have anything that deals with, headaches or hair growth or whatever it may be, anything at all, think about it. Bottom left-hand corner, you just ask Miss Ronnie and she will be able to assist you with that. Even if you have an order, let's say you have an order and you're like, okay, I want to know the status of my order. Just type it, ask her, just say, hey, Miss Ronnie, could you tell me the status of my order? And the first thing is Miss Ronnie is going to say, okay, sure, no problem. Can you give me the email address or the order number that you received? And then once you give her that information, she'll be able to look that up for you and give you the status of the order. Now, if it is an order that has been shipped and you have a tracking number, make sure you go to that tracking number. Okay. Now, if there's some funny stuff going on with that tracking number, meaning that it's saying that it's been sitting somewhere near your home for a few days, you want to make sure you contact them. If it's UPS or USPS, make sure you contact them first. Okay. Because once we hand it off to them, they are responsible for getting it to you. Now, if you have any problems with that, then you can, after you've talked with them, then come to us if there's something else in addition that we can do to help. But you want to make sure you follow your tracking. Okay. Take that tracking number and you want to look it up. If it's USPS or UPS, make sure you start there. Okay. And then from there, you'll be able to figure out where your package is. Okay. So I want to make that clear as far as shipping is concerned. Okay. So Miss Ronnie, she can answer anything related to the store, the things that we currently sell in the store. Now, the other thing that we have is the other person, or the AI person we have, is Baba Herb Assistant. Okay. Baba Herb Assistant. And if all you got to do is click on that, you have to make sure you have a Chat GPT account. Okay. It's a free account. It's free of charge. You don't have to pay for it. And then once you get your account, you will be able to ask Baba Herb Assistant pretty much anything at all, any questions at all that you have pertaining to health, wellness, meal plans, restaurants that are healthy in your area. I have some sample questions up here, like what are the best herbs for high blood pressure? Can you recommend a meal plan for someone who's dealing with X Tell me more about the alkaline diet. You name it, pretty much Baba Herb Assistant will be able to handle it. This is the place that you come. So if you have any questions at all, even beyond the scope of what Miss Ronnie can answer for you, because again, she's only dealing with what we currently have and offer in the store. But if we don't offer it, we still want to be able to help you. And this is why we created Baba Herb Assistant, for you to have those questions answered. So like I said, pretty much anything you can possibly think of as it pertains to health, wellness, diet, meal plans, whatever, make sure you come to Baba Herb Assistant for that. Okay. And then we also created another AI assistant called Pharma Guy. Now, Pharma Guy, this is an assistant. If you have any pharmaceuticals that have been assigned to you, given to you, prescribed to you by your doctor, you want to do a little bit of homework on that, right? You just don't take stuff just because they're telling you to take it. You want to know the whole backstory of it. This is the best place to come for that. So all you got to do is type in, hey, can you tell me the everything you know about this particular drug? You can just type it in. It doesn't matter what drug it is. Type it in there. And it will give you everything from, how long it was in testing, what were the results of the testing, how long it's been on the market, have there been any recalls? It will give you a whole backstory on it, right? So you have all that information. And then on top of that, and in addition, it will also tell you, what drugs to not combine it with, right? So, you want to make sure you're not combining it with certain things or certain foods or whatever. So it'll even give you all the warnings for that. Now, what we did on top of that, we wanted to make sure you get this information as well, is if you wanted to know what is the herbal replacement for this pharmaceutical, and it will give you that information as well. So it's designed, we designed it to give you all the information that you need about these pharmaceuticals that have been given to you, that have been assigned to you by the pharmaceutical industry by way of your doctor. And so make sure you're using this tool as well. Now, this next tool, I am ecstatic about. I'm excited about this. For a while, Nicole and I, we have been saying the next frontier for SambaTree.com will be to provide education, to be a resource for educating people, our customers, our family members. And so now we are actually here now. And this is what we're doing. So we are proud to present to you Samba University. Let's go to school. Let's take a look. Okay, so the way you're going to get to it is really simple. When you get to SambaTree.com, you go to our top menu up here, and you're going to see it just added right here. Samba, you see it? It says Samba University. When you click on it, look at that. Samba University, where class is always in session. And that's right. This is what we're doing. So what we're doing is that we're going to be creating a series of classes, online classes, workshops that are going to cover a wide range of topics to help sharpen you and aid you in your health and your wellness, right? And there are tools that you need for that. For example, our first one that we have that we're going to be launching, this is going to be next month, April the 13th. April the 13th, next month, is going to be our first class. And it's called Chat GPT for grown folks. That's right. Chat GPT for grown folks. And what it is that we're going to, and I'm going to tell you let me just go through it so you can see the details of this class here that we're going to be offering. It's right here. Let's kind of make this bigger so that you can see it. I'll just go through it. It says, ever wonder what it's like to talk directly to the future? Now's your chance. Join our live interactive workshop on April the 13th at 12 noon Eastern time via private live stream and discover the power of ChatGPT, the easy to use, powerful digital assistant everyone's talking about. The class itself is going to run for about 2 hours. And so what we're doing is we're just going to teach you the basics of it. And, it's not going to get heavy. It's taught with the instructor. I actually know the instructor very well. In fact, it's me. Yes, it's me. And so one thing about me is I'm over 50. Okay. So I kind of got the idea of the mindset of people in my demographic and a little bit older. Okay. So it's going to be taught from that perspective. Okay. Where it's going to be very easy to follow. We are very sharp-minded people, by the way. Okay. I'm not going to be up here using Legos and blocks. Okay. I'm not insulting us. I'm just saying you start getting to a certain age, it's like, just make it simple. You know what I mean? Well, that's exactly how I'm going to teach it. Right. And then I'm going to take you through how to set up your account. And we're going to go through, what the difference is between Chat GPT and some of the other ones that are out there. We're going to talk about, how to write prompts. What are some of the things that it can be used for your day to day? Because a lot of us, we have been groomed to use Google, which you still can, or Yahoo, whatever your search engine of choice is. But I'm telling you, if you're not using Chat GPT, you are really missing out on a lot of opportunities, a lot of things that you can do. And so that's what we're going to be covering in this class. You're going to want to make sure you jump on the live version, which is going to be on the 13th, because the live version will give you the opportunity. If you have any questions at all, you'll be able to ask in real time and get real time responses to your questions. So I want to make sure people jump on that, okay, on the live. So between now and the 30th of March, the price is we have an early bird price of $24.99, okay, $24.99. That's the early bird price. And then afterwards, up until the day of the actual broadcast, it will be $30. So you want to make sure you get in on this one. Okay. So so that's our Chat GPT course, but it's not just that. We're going to have some other ones coming up too. Check this out. We're going to have an AI digital artwork class. That's 101. Again, we're going to teach you the basics. What are some of the sites out there that you can use, the services that are out there? We're going to talk about some of the prompts that you use, some of the commands that you use. There's little sites that I know of where you can get inspiration from and enhance your images. We're going to go through all of that. I don't have a date for that yet, but I'm just showing you what we have coming up. And then we have, likewise, we can't do the images without doing the music. I've had many people reach out to me and say, hey, man, where you get your music from? Well, I'm doing it through AI. And so there are tools out there that, if you know how to use it, you can produce some very good music. This is not to you to get some kind of music contract. It ain't about that. But if you have always wanted to kind of play around with music and wanted to create some things, this will be the perfect opportunity for you to start learning about it. And this, again, is an upcoming class. I don't have a date for that yet, but we will be doing that very, very soon. And then on top of that, later on, we're going to have some other classes, from my dear wife, Nicole, who's going to be talking about things on the herbal side of the house, ranging from, if whoever took the jab, if you did take it, what are some herbs you should be taking, step by step. She's going to take you through all kind of like very practical things that, really playing off of a lot of the questions that we get from you as our customers. We're going to have classes that really dig in there and get into the details and walk you through, some of these things, many of the questions that you guys have, and it will give us the opportunity to really answer it in great detail. And then the great thing about these classes too is that you're going to walk away with a little book. You're going to get a short booklet that, that's going to be for yours free, that comes with the cost of the class that you'll be able to use, going forward. So if you have any other questions, you have a reference book that you can put in your hands and you'll be able to use it for whatever, you're going to do, whatever you're going to do with the information. So we're very excited about this. And so make sure you check out the page. Again, it is just go to SambaTree.com and then you want to click on Samba University. We're going to be adding more and more workshops and over time. So keep your eye out for this. This is we're very excited about this. Okay, one last thing, and then we're going to dive into the news. Because these are things I want to make sure you're not missing. If you scroll down, when you come to SambaTree.com, you're going to see our front page. We change it pretty regularly, right? Particularly the banners. Like this time, we're talking about our organic cotton, 100% cotton sheets. We'll get into that a little bit later, but we always change it. You know, we just put beautiful artwork up there and everything and all of that. And so we're always changing it and, just kind of, just change things around a little bit. But as you scroll down, continue to scroll down because there's always little goodies and nuggets that we're adding in here, like our blog post. Okay, so we have a section for our blog post. Did you know we had a blog? Yeah, we actually do. And so this latest one is the surprising benefits of wearing cotton. And this is talking about, the frequencies, the textiles, and your health. It's talking about the frequencies of cotton. Yeah, cotton has certain frequencies to it, especially when you compare it to polyester. And that's what we did side by side. And we talk about the EMF impact to your body and all of that. So we get into it. So we have articles and stuff that we post as well on the front page. This is our blog section. So if you scroll, so make sure you scroll down and you'll see that we have all of our latest blog posts that are chock full of a lot of information for you there. And then, of course, we plug in videos. We might add like our Instagram because, yes, we do have an Instagram page. We might add like our Instagram there as well so you can stay on top of what's going on, what we're posting on Instagram and all of that because we want to make sure you're not missing out on anything. So make sure when you come to SambaTree.com, make sure you look at the whole page because there's a lot of great stuff that we're posting there just for you. Okay, so moving on to the news. I don't know if you guys have heard this, but 23andMe, that company that collects your DNA, you spit in a little thing there, and then they will basically take your DNA and be able to tell you what people group you're, that you come from and all of that. You got Ancestry.com. There are many others as well. It's pretty cool, the information that they give you. However, what are they taking from you? That's the bigger question there. And 23andMe as a company, has just declared bankruptcy. And people have been saying, listen, because they do on the website, at least, let me switch back here so you can see my full face here. On the website, they will tell you that, hey, listen, we have an option. If you select this option, it will delete all your information that you've given to 23andMe or any Ancestry.com. They have the same thing as well. They have a little button there that says, click this, and then we will delete it. Now, guess who doesn't believe that? I don't, okay? And I think you'll be a fool to believe that too. But nonetheless, people have been encouraging one another. They said, listen, if you've given any information to 23andMe, you need to go and delete it now. Because as a company going into bankruptcy, who knows where that information is going? Well, we have a whistleblower. Well, he's not a whistleblower. I take that back. He was blowing the whistle, but he didn't realize it. This is from James O'Keefe. He's an investigative journalist and had one of his people talking with someone in the government that was kind of letting us know what 23andMe has been doing with that data. Let's take a listen.
That's when 23andMe comes in, trying to figure out what all you are. I should do that.
You shouldn't do that, though. Do not give your information they sell it to other people.
Do they sell it to Russia?
They sell it to everybody.
Meet Nathaniel Johnson, a policy advisor for the United States Department of the Treasury.
There's a clause in their contract that basically says, we can give your information to our shareholders so that they can do something. And all of their shareholders are pharmaceutical companies. But some of those pharmaceutical companies are companies based in other countries, and those pharmaceutical companies in other countries are the property of the Ministry of Defense of Russia, or owned by China.
So there you got it. Here you got somebody in the government saying that, hey, listen, they're selling it to everybody. It doesn't matter what company it is. Hey, unfortunately, I'm one of those that sent my DNA information to one of these companies. It wasn't 23andMe, but it's just a cautionary tale of how we have to really make sure that we're protecting our stuff. I know a lot of us want to know, hey, listen, what's my background? Where did I come from and all of that? We all want to know that, right? But, you know, so we have to really ask ourselves, is it worth the trade-off? They're sending it to these different pharmaceutical companies, which should be of a great concern because it makes their stuff a lot more potent, if you understand what I'm saying. They can be a little bit more targeted, if you know what I mean, when they come up with these different vaccine solutions, if you know what I mean, right? So, you know, these are things that, you know, we got to be very, very careful of when we're giving out our information. Let's move on to the next story. Well, this week, President Trump just nominated a person by the name of Susan Monarez as the person over the CDC. And, you know, it didn't take long for people to look in her background, and it appears that she is in lockstep with the globalist agenda as it pertains to vaccines. This is what you're seeing above me right now is a post that she looks like on Twitter that she posted back in on 9/24. And I'll just read it for you if you can't see it. It says the Gates Foundation has had an incredible impact on global health. CDC works closely with the Gates Foundation to fight polio and other global health threats. Great to touch base last night on those efforts. Public health is a team sport. Hey, now when Robert F. Kennedy Jr., when he was going through his whole nomination process, I already knew. I mean, you know, a person like this who has been very vocal, I'm talking about Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's been very vocal and very outspoken against vaccines, there is no way in the world that this person is going to get passed through the Senate hearings unless he's making some agreements in the back room, if you know what I mean, right? And that's coming from either Democrats or Republicans. It doesn't matter because the pharmaceutical companies, they invest on both sides. So I already knew. I said, you know, I hear what he's saying. I see what he's doing, but I also understand politics a little bit. You know what I mean? And I knew that this man would not have been nominated unless he was making some concessions in the back room. So for me personally, I'm not a bit more surprised that, you know, that Trump would go with someone like this, Susan Monarez. I'm not surprised at it at all, because at the end of the day, they go with whoever their paymasters say to go with. And if they have to make some concessions, they're going to do it, you know, and so you just take that for what it's worth. At the end of the day, you as an adult, you as a parent, you as a caretaker or whatever, you just take this information, keep it in mind, and never, ever be like a lot of these people out here on social media, which I'm completely surprised about, that somehow they're caught off guard with this and they're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do there. Yes, you do. That you got to make sure you do your investigation. Make sure whatever your doctor gives you, make sure you question it. And we earlier in this broadcast, I just gave you some tools on how you can investigate these things yourself so that you're not taking these people's word for it. Because in most of these cases, the information is out there. The warnings are there. The red flags are there. You just got to reach out and read the things so that you know how to navigate in these very strange waters that we're in. Let's move on to the next story. Now, as you know, the medical industry, they will change standards from time to time. Like, for example, like in this next story, we're talking about high blood pressure. There was a time when they said, okay, you got to be 140 over 60 or whatever it is. I'm just throwing out numbers there. If your blood pressure is this, then that means you're okay. Then over time, they would say, okay, no, we're going to change it up. You know, in fact, I think I have the numbers here. In 1940, normal blood pressure, it was 100 plus your age, which will be, let's say, your age, 100 plus your age, and then have /95. 1970, normal blood pressure was 160 over 90. In the year 2000, it was 140 over 90. And now from 2017 to now, you got to be less than 120 over 80. Well, in this video that I'm going to play for you, it's about a couple of minutes. Well, it's actually 4 minutes long. I want you to pay attention to this gentleman here because he's doing a breakdown and explaining as to why the medical industry does these things and why they're playing with the numbers. Let's take a listen to what he has to say.
1970, the criteria for high blood pressure was 160 over 90. That's when the doctor started talking to you about your high blood pressure and whether you should take medications. There was another method of knowing if you had high blood pressure, especially as you got older, was the systolic number had to be 100 plus your age. So if you were 70 years old, it was perfectly acceptable to have your blood pressure 170 over something. As long as it was lower than that, everything was A-okay. Then somehow about 30-ish years ago, when I was in school, the numbers changed to when you were supposed to give someone medication. We were taught in our school that when someone had high blood pressure that was 140 over 90, that's when you were to send them out to their primary care doctor and have them take medication. Well, then in 2017, something happened. And that is, a study came out that said people's blood pressure should be lower than 120 over 80. Now, that is a pretty lofty goal. That is very low, such that almost hardly anyone can pass that. When you go into a doctor's office in the middle of the day, you've already had stress. You're already stressed about being there. Maybe you've been waiting in the waiting room too long. You've probably had coffee or some type of food prior to that appointment. Then they rush you into the room, usually put the blood pressure cuff off over a number of clothing as you're dangling there, as they're asking questions. There's a whole host of reasons why your blood pressure is going to be above 120 over 80. If you are above 120 over 80 now, you're going to get a talking to. You're going to get a little spanking, little slap on the wrist. The doctor's going to talk to you. But if you're above 130 over 80, now that's the criteria for medication. Now let me know what your opinion is. Is this simply corporate greed from pharmaceutical companies to lower the margins so low that almost no one can pass, and thus every one of us should be on blood pressure medication? Or are the pharmaceutical companies so altruistic that they just want to help humanity that they've made the criteria such that they're really saving lives and preventing us from having a heart attack or stroke? Let me know what you think is the answer down in the comment section down below. Hypothetically, this may be true. No matter what our age, maybe all of our blood pressure should be below 120 over 80. There is probably a way to get your blood pressure to normal for you, but the million-dollar question is, what is normal blood pressure? What should our blood pressure be when we're 20 years old? What should our blood pressure be when we're 80 years old? And whatever your opinion is, there's probably research to support that. In fact, for many people that are elderly or old, it's interesting that now they're starting to say, or at least there's some research to support, that your blood pressure should be higher. That people that have low blood pressure, because they're on so many medications, are actually having less health and dying sooner than the people with higher blood pressure. So, go figure. But that's the history of what we've seen so far, just in my lifetime. Now, what were they doing 100 years ago in the 1920s with high blood pressure? Were people dropping dead like crazy because of high blood pressure? And now that we're getting everyone below 120 over 80, we're all living longer lives? Is that the reason why people are living longer now? Are they living longer? These are great questions to ask, and I'll leave it up to you to try to read between the lines. Now, having said this, high blood pressure is a risk factor for heart attacks and strokes. The higher your blood pressure as a younger person, the more likely that you're going to have problems in the future. So it behooves us to try to get our blood pressure to a normal for us.
Okay, so you may have just watched that and like, okay, well, what should my blood pressure be? I'm not in a position to tell you that. But I just wanted you to hear that in the games that these pharmaceutical companies do play when it comes to what exactly is the standard. Across the board, bottom line, the first line of defense for your body is to make sure that you're doing regular exercise, you're eating right, you're drinking, your water, you're sleeping well, you're sleeping, the hours that you need to be sleeping. You don't need to be up 2-3 in the morning on social media or anything like that. And unless you're watching this, no, I'm just playing. But no, you don't. You need to make sure that you're getting your rest and all of that. And covering the basics at least, you know what I mean? And then from there, my advice would be, in addition to whatever doctor that you're going through your, your insurance companies or whatever, pay a visit to one of these naturopathic doctors that are out here who specialize not only in that world as far as like the regular doctors that work hand in hand with the pharmaceuticals, but they also have a knowledge and understanding of how herbs and natural solutions can be a benefit to you and your body as well. I remember my family and we went to one, and they did a top-down analysis of everything in our body. And when we were done, man, they had a whole big booklet of just a whole breakdown of just everything. That's what you want. You want somebody that'll do a whole top-down of everything from a natural wellness perspective, so that you'll know exactly what you should be taking instead of just taking these shots in the dark. And there are people out there that can do that for you, because I'm going to tell you right now, like as this gentleman just pointed out, these pharmaceutical companies, the only thing they care about is making that money. And if it means they got to scare you because they're like, oh my God, you got high blood pressure, you might die. In reality, you may not even be that. So we're in the age where we have to question everything. We can't be, we love our parents, we love our grandparents, right? But one of the things they taught us is, son, daughter, whatever you do, you trust them 100%. We can't do it, right? Because we're understanding now that these doctors, they may be nice people, but at the end of the day, it's about making that money. You understand? So you got to put you ahead of all of that. Like I always tell people, you are your own primary care physician. It starts with you, and then they're secondary. Do you understand what I'm saying? So yeah, just take a look. Just look at it that way. Let's get to the next story. Now, do you guys remember all that time, anybody at all, doing a few years back, some years back, right? Man, on one hand, it doesn't seem like it was long ago, but we're talking like 4+ years ago now, where, there was this narrative that basically that this thing, I got to talk in code here, that it came to us by way of boat and ship and air and a bunch of green monkeys or whatever it is that they were saying to us at that time. That you got to be careful on how you breathe and what you touch and all of this other stuff. It came from over, whatever, right? They were just throwing out all kinds of stuff. Well, now, as you can see from the article above, here you got New York Times saying we were badly misled about the event that changed our lives. And now they're leaking out slow admissions that those of us that they were calling conspiracy theorists on some of these things, really on all of it, we were right. They're just coming to acknowledge some of it. And I think in this article, they were getting in, like talking about how they're quote unquote confirming that it came from, some Chinese labs. They're confirming that because the CIA told them that. Yeah. So we can trust that. Right. But that's really the bulk of this. But it's funny how they will put out all this stuff. Don't you dare say anything about this. Don't you dare question the narrative. But now they're trying to do this slow walk, kind of like acknowledge stuff. And they're not even acknowledging all of it. But again, this serves again as an example of why we have to make sure that we are questioning everything. Even if the main narrative is telling you not to, make sure you are in the driver's seat the whole time. And you're the one that's asking questions. People are going to get mad at you. You may lose friends over it, but you only got one life here. So you better make sure you make it count and you make sure you asking questions. Think of it. All this time, I know for our platform, there were many times they were taking videos down and striking us and all of that. And all we were doing was repeating the studies that were done by people in the medical industry. And because we were doing that and those studies didn't go with the narrative, they were telling us we were wrong. But now all of a sudden they're coming out and say, well, you know what? You actually were right. I tell you, it's something, isn't it? Okay, and for our next story, we've been talking a lot about this whole geoengineering. I don't know if you've been paying attention, when we were growing up, okay, for those of us of a certain age, I don't recall the skies looking like a cat just done scratched all up on it, like it's about to drop a dump in its cat. You know, the little thing they go in and they, you know, their little scratch thing where they go and do their stuff. You know, I don't recall the skies ever looking like that. But now it's become a normal thing. People have gotten used to it. But they are doing stuff up there, y'all. When you look at the different chemicals that they are putting in the skies, what goes up eventually comes down. And people are really starting to take notice, you know, being on X, formerly known as Twitter. More and more people are starting to take pictures and video and share it with other people and saying, look at what they're doing in my community. Look at what they're doing in our state. And you as an individual, you should take note of these things, like the people in this state, in these different states here who have legislation that's getting passed through right now. I mean, they're still working on it. But if you look at this list here that's on your screen right now, all of these states so far have pieces of legislation on a state level that they're moving through their local systems to get this stuff passed to outlaw this spraying that they're doing. They call it geoengineering. The reason why they're saying that they're doing it is the stuff that they're spraying up, they're putting up there. What they're saying is, well, we're doing this because, you know, there's particles that they're spraying up there to reflect the sunlight back up to the sun, because they said that the UV rays are too dangerous for us. No, that's not true at all. Our body uses and needs UV rays, just like plants, just like animals. Everything that we see in nature uses those UV rays, right? Period. So don't buy into that lie. The sun is our friend. And what these demonic people want to do is they want to get rid of the sun. They want us to be children of the night, but we're not going to do that, right? So this is what these people are doing. So make sure you're paying attention. If you see your state listed on that list, make sure you reach out to your local person, your state representative, and let them know, hey, listen, what's going on? Y'all need to get this thing done like yesterday, like I did. We reached out to our local politician. I said, hey, listen, come on. You got to get this going, because why do I have to go outside and breathe that mess? You don't need to. And if something can be done about it, we should be doing something about it. All right, as we're winding down here, I wanted to bring your attention to something else that we're doing here. You saw me pass over this earlier, but we just published our own first book. And this book is called Exploring the Wonders of Moringa. And what we did is we collected a bunch of information. We put it together in a beautiful PDF that you can download. It's only $3.99 that you'll be able to download. And it covers pretty much everything as far as the history of moringa, how ancient cultures used it, why you should be using it. It's giving you sample meal plans and how to give it to your children. I think I have that in there as well. We're also working on a children's version of this as well. This is $3.99. So once you pay for it, it'll be an instant download right to your computer, and you can read at your leisure. It's a very, very easy read, and it has some great information, because we get people quite often that will buy moringa and they will say, I don't know what it's for. They buy it 'cause they know they should have it, but they don't know. And that's why we put this together. So go ahead and check out this book. This is our Exploring the Wonders of Moringa. And also be sure to check out, we have a limited stock of certified organic, non-GMO, 100% Turkish cotton bed sheets. I know that's a mouthful, but I'm gonna tell you right now, if you get these sheets and put them on your bed, you're gonna be full of something, full of sleep. How about that? When you get the comfort and what it does to your body. I mean, and that's why I say read that blog post that we did. We talk about scientifically the benefits of putting cotton on your body. You know how people say it's nothing but whatever that touches this skin, honey. Okay, yeah, but we need to be saying that about cotton, because all of these other strange textiles and stuff that they're inventing and developing and putting, it does some horrible things to us in the long run. And in that blog post, we break it down and we explain what exactly is being done to your body. But yeah, having at least a set in your house or two of 100% cotton sheets, and not just 100%, they're organic. You want to make sure you have this. So check this out. These are on sale right now. The normal price for these, Let me see. I had them up here. It was $70. That's right, $70. And you can look it up. They normally go for $70. Guess how much we selling it for? $48.75. I mean, you can't beat that. You cannot beat that. So check that out. We have this on sale now, but it's a limited supply. So, once they're going, they're going. And speaking of specials, we have a special that's going on right now with our avocado leaves. The avocado, right? The fruit, but you also got the leaves. The leaves, you can use those too as tea. And man, I'm gonna tell you, it's a very good taste. It's like almost like a caramelly kind of taste to it. Very good. And we have a special on that right now. They regularly go for $14.99. We're selling it for $12.99. And here are just some of the benefits of the leaves. It's down here. We have a whole list here. You can read it on your own time, but I'll just give you a few of them. It protects the body from degenerative diseases. It inhibits the growth of bacteria. Helps to treat kidney stones. Stabilizes blood pressure. Reduces asthma attacks. It helps to relieve headaches. Helps to prevent cancer. Well, and that's, I'm gonna put an asterisk by that. So all the social media gods out there that want to say, oh, you said you can't say that, we're just putting an asterisk by that. But it's been reports that, yes, it can do that. Okay. Amongst a lot of other things as well. So make sure you check that out. Like I said, we got a special going on right now for that. Well, that about wraps it up. Thank you so much for tuning in to our very first SambaTree weekly health update. I'm still trying to get the name right. And this is something we want to try to do at least once a week, updating you on all the latest trends, the things that are going on right now in the world of health and wellness. But we want to make sure that we're getting this truth out regarding this stuff, because there's so many lies that are out here, and many of our loved ones have been lied to for so long. And it's about time we have some voices out here, and we already do. We're just going to add ours to them as well, and saying enough is enough. Let's get the truth out. And that's what we're doing here at SambaTree.com. So make sure you check the website out. Make sure, do us a favor, spread the word about this video. Share it with your friends and family on your platforms and all that. And let's get the word out about what we're doing here as far as these weekly health updates, okay? And we're going to keep right on doing it. Thank you so much, you guys. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.